Mother's Day, a time for love, celebration, and family. But for two young girls in Zion, Illinois, it became a day of horror, a brutal crime, a wrongful conviction, and a killer who walked free to strike again. Today, we unravel the chilling case of Jorge Avila-Torrez, a predator hiding in plain sight. How did justice fail? And how did he escape suspicion for so long? Let's dive in.
My name is Detective Sweats with the Lake County Major Crime Task Force. I'm here on 5/10/05 at approximately 14:06 hours. I'm with Detective Harris, and I'm also with Jerry Hobbs. We're at the Zion Police Department. I am asking Jerry consent to read, electronically record him while he reads his statement. Jerry has agreed to read his statement. Jerry Hobbs, is that your name?
Yes, sir.
Okay. This is case 05-5747, Lake County Major Crime Task Force case. Jerry, is this a consent for electronic recording that you gave me earlier?
Yes, sir.
Just a couple minutes ago?
Yes, sir.
And you wrote your name down? And is this your signature giving me consent to record this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and myself and Detective Harris witnessed this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and is this the form that we read to you and showed you? And we read all your rights?
Yes, sir.
Is this your signature on the form that these are all the rights you understand?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and you're aware of your rights, and you agreed to speak with me and Detective Harris about this. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now, at the bottom of this page on the right-hand side, is this your signature
Yes, sir.
saying that you have received these rights and you understand them? Okay. And that was given voluntarily?
Yeah.
Okay. Would you like to read the statement electronically for us while being recorded?
Yeah.
Okay, could you read that out loud and please be clear and just start from right here?
On May 8, 2005, Sunday about 3 p.m., I got home with my wife Sheila and our 4 kids from flying kites at the lake. My daughter asked if she could go out and play with her friends. Sheila said it was okay even though she was still grounded after stealing Sheila's $40. I didn't agree with letting her go, but I didn't say anything at the time. At about 4:30 p.m., I decided to check on Laura and bring her home. I walked by myself from my house to the park into the trail, where my son Jerry said Laura hangs out. I was walking on the dirt trail and I ran into Laura and her friends Krystal on the trail. I told Laura that she had to come home and she argued with me and I grabbed her by the arm. She tried pulling away and was telling me to let her go. Krystal also telling me to let Laura go. Krystal pulled out a small knife from her pocket and again told me to let Laura go. Laura was fighting me, and I punched her in the face as she dropped to the ground. Krystal came towards me, and I took the knife from her, and I punched her in the face as she went down. And then went in a rage and stabbed Krystal in the chest and neck. I was up towards her. She stopped moving, and I went over to Laura, and she was moving around and fighting. I punched her in the face again and stabbed her in the back and neck, and I also stabbed her in the face by the eyes.
Jerry, why don't you take a second and just take a breath. Okay.
It all happened so fast. When she was moving around, I think I stabbed Krystal 6 times and Laura 10. When I stopped moving, I pulled Krystal Laura about 30 feet away from the trail until I grasped that she was next to her body. So I went back on the dirt trail and threw a knife as far as I could towards the park area to sunrise. The knife was a pointy brown wooden handle with a tattered knife. About 46 inches long. Then I walked back home and washed up my hands in the bathroom sink. I was wearing all the clothes I have on now. On Monday morning, I took art where the girls' bodies were, and they were just how I left them, except they were swollen up. I'm sorry for that. Things just got out of hand and I lost it. I was just trying to be a father and take control of my children. I wanted to cooperate and help the detectives. They have given me and treated me well. And have been made to me.
Okay. Is this your statement, Jerry?
Yes, let's get it.
Was this given free and voluntarily?
Yes.
Okay.
On Mother's Day, May 8th, 2005, 8-year-old Laura Hobbs and 9-year-old Krystal Tobias went out for a bike ride in Zion, Illinois. But as night fell, they never returned. Panic set in. Families, police, and volunteers combed the area, searching desperately for the missing girls. The next morning, it was Laura's father, Jorge Hobbs, who made the devastating discovery. Both girls were found brutally murdered, their bodies left in a wooded area. Their wounds were vicious, stab wounds to the neck and face, a horrifying act of violence that shattered the community. But instead of searching for the real killer, authorities turned their focus on Hobbs. As an ex-convict, he became their prime suspect. Under intense interrogation, he eventually confessed. Yet the evidence told another story. DNA recovered from the crime scene did not match Hobbs, but despite this, he spent 5 years behind bars, awaiting trial for a crime he did not commit. Meanwhile, lurking in the shadows was the real killer, 16-year-old Jorge Avila-Torrez, a familiar face in the neighborhood connected to the victims through mutual friends. He had escaped justice, and he wasn't finished. More crimes of Jorge and capture. Jorge Avila-Torres' descent into darkness began long before authorities connected the dots. After committing a brutal double murder in Illinois, he enlisted in the Marines, seemingly escaping justice. But his violent tendencies didn't stop there. Stationed at Joint Base Meyer-Henderson Hall in Arlington, Virginia, Avila-Torrez lived among fellow service members, blending in as just another Marine. But behind closed doors, he harbored a sinister secret. In 2009, he set his sights on Amanda Jean Snell, a 20-year-old Navy Petty Officer Second Class and a Naval Military Intelligence Specialist. Under the cover of night, he crept into her barracks, strangling her to death. Her lifeless body was later discovered in her closet, hidden away as if he had hoped she would never be found. For a year, Snell's murder remained unsolved. Avila-Torrez continued his life as if nothing had happened until his violent urges resurfaced in February 2010. This time, he stalked 2 women in Northern Virginia, watching their movements, learning their routines. When the moment was right, he broke into their Ballston apartment, binding them with electrical cords. But his cruelty didn't end there. He kidnapped one of the women, driving her to a secluded area where he raped and strangled her, leaving her for dead on the side of the road. But she survived, and she fought back. Her report to the police led to Avila-Torrez's arrest. When investigators ran his DNA, the results were shocking. It linked him to previous murders, including the killing of Amanda Snell. Trials and sentencing. After his 2010 arrest, Jorge Avila-Torrez found himself housed with Osama El-Attari, a wealthy former restaurateur convicted of defrauding banks out of $53 million. But El-Attari had cut a deal. He would secretly wear a wiretap in exchange for a reduced sentence. During one of their recorded conversations, he asked Torrez if he felt any remorse. Torrez's response was chilling. He had none. And worse, he directly implicated himself in all 3 murders. This confession would become a crucial piece of evidence, but it was far from the only one. In October 2010, Torrez was found guilty of rape and kidnapping in Northern Virginia. His crimes had escalated to abduction, torture, and attempted murder, proving he was a predator without restraint. Then, on December 10th, 2010, Judge Benjamin Kendrick handed down 5 life sentences without parole, plus an additional 168 years, a sentence meant to ensure Torrez would never walk free again. In 2011, federal prosecutors charged Torrez with the 2009 murder of Navy Petty Officer Amanda Snell, marking the first time he was directly accused of homicide in a courtroom. By 2013, justice was finally served for one of Torrez's victims, but not in the way anyone expected. Jerry Hobbs, wrongfully convicted in 2005 for the murder of his own daughter, Laura Hobbs, was exonerated and received $6 million from Lake County, Illinois. A tragic reminder of how deeply law enforcement had failed. Then came April 24th, 2014, a pivotal moment in the case. A federal jury, backed by Torrez's jailhouse confession, El-Attari's testimony, and overwhelming DNA evidence, sentenced him to death for Amanda Snell's murder. It was a historic ruling. Torrez became the first person since 2007 to receive a federal death sentence. A month later, a federal judge officially affirmed the jury's decision, ensuring his execution was on the horizon. Following his death sentence, Torrez was extradited back to Lake County, Illinois, where he finally stood trial for the Mother's Day murders of Laura Hobbs and Krystal Tobias. Torrez's defense attorney, Jed Stone, made a desperate attempt to discredit the DNA evidence, calling it substandard and weak. He also questioned the credibility of El-Attari's testimony, arguing that the informant's statements should be discarded, especially since El-Attari had been murdered in an unrelated robbery in Maryland earlier that year. Ultimately, the case against Torrez was airtight. On September 18, 2018, he pled guilty, avoiding trial in exchange for 100 years. Imprisonment and a transfer from the notorious Red Onion State Prison, a facility Stone controversially called an evil, racist institution. At his sentencing, presiding Justice Daniel Shaines condemned Torrez as a serial killer, telling him, "If you have even a spark of goodness, it is so far out of your reach that it is unattainable." For years, Torrez remained on federal death row, awaiting execution. But then, on December 23, 2024, a shocking development unfolded. Outgoing President Joe Biden commuted the federal death sentences of 37 inmates, including Torrez, reducing his sentence to life without parole. He would never be free, but he had escaped death.
Today, President Biden commuted the death sentences of 37 federal inmates instead to life without parole.
And that includes 2 murder cases here in Chicago and the suburbs. NBC5's Patrick Fazio reports.
The first case involves two girls who were sexually assaulted and stabbed to death while riding their bicycles in North Suburban Zion back in 2005. 8-year-old Laura Hobbs and 9-year-old Krystal Tobias.
When you just find one of your kids, my daughter, and you're not mentally prepared.
The father of one of the girls later sued police, saying they forced him to confess. He was jailed for years before DNA cleared him. The other girl's family friend, Jorge Avila-Torrez, pleaded guilty to killing the girls. He was also convicted of murder in Virginia.
The case of Jorge Avila-Torrez is a haunting reminder of how justice can fail, both in convicting the wrong man and letting the real monster roam free for years. While his crimes shocked the nation, the aftermath left deep scars. Families devastated. A wrongfully accused father trying to rebuild his life, and a community forever haunted by what happened on Mother's Day 2005. Public reaction to his sentencing was mixed. Many believed death was the only fitting punishment for his crimes, while others debated the morality of capital punishment. Then, in 2024, came the unexpected twist. His death sentence was commuted. For some, it was justice denied. For others, it was a reflection of changing policies. But what do you think? Did the system work? Did Jorge Avila-Torrez deserve execution? Or was life in prison enough? Let's discuss in the comments below. And if you found this deep dive fascinating, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss another true crime breakdown. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.